Welcome to Biz Alchemy, a podcast about creating a new business paradigm by women, for women. I'm your alchemical host, Jacquelyn, and I'm going to take you on an extraordinary adventure to create a business filled with ease, fun, spaciousness, and abundance. Hustle, be gone. Let's birth a new way. Welcome back. I'm looking forward to continuing the receiving experience with you today. And today I'm looking at receiving versus gratitude. Now, that's not really a very truthful title in that it's not like they're opposing and it is one versus the other, but it just seemed the easiest way to put into a heading what I wanted to share with you, which was really about the difference between receiving and gratitude. I first pondered this during my Christmas break on a beach walk, of course, and I was feeling into the energy of receiving and how I would bring more of that into my life, how I could really honor being in a receiving space. And I was thinking about, well, at night, could I just do a little, either a mental list or a written list of what I received in the day? Immediately I thought, well, isn't this just the same as a gratitude list? Because in many ways, when you give gratitude, you are expressing what you're grateful for that you received. So then my mind was, oh, wow, okay, let's go deeper here. And as I sat with the energies, it was very clear to me that they are quite different. Simply in terms of receiving is a yin energy. Energy is coming towards you. Gratitude is a yang energy. You are giving energy out. So although they are very, very closely linked, they're actually very different energy flows. And as I pondered that more, I realized how closely linked receiving is with mindfulness, with being present. Because gratitude can actually happen without you being present to what you're grateful for. And I'm sure you've all experienced this where you are given something. I mean, it might be something physical, it might be cash, however it's come to you, a compliment. And immediately you say, oh, thank you. That's wonderful. I'm so grateful that you gave that to me, whatever. But you actually didn't sit in the receiving of it. We aren't taught that. We aren't shown that. Because in many ways, there is such a negative energy around focusing on receiving. So it's just glossed over, straight into thank you. And certainly this month, since this has come into my awareness, I have been much more present to this. Still don't always get it right because it's such a pattern, but actually I shouldn't have said still don't always get it right, but you know what I mean. I'm learning, and it makes such a difference when you can just take that moment to really be in the receiving energy before giving the gratitude. And what I found is when that happens, the gratitude really does come up from the heart rather than sort of being a mind-throat response. It's a heart-throat response, because you have allowed that receiving to come into your heart. So as a result of that pondering, I began doing this of an evening before I went to sleep. I sometimes write it, but sometimes I just have the book there as a reminder to do it, because as soon as I see the book next to my bed, as I'm getting into bed, I'm like, okay. And I just really feel into the energy of the many things that I receive through the day. And yes, I might consider income. I might consider that someone bought me breakfast. I might consider that someone gave me something. So it can be sort of the material side, but it can also be the taste and the nourishment that I got from one of my little homegrown cherry tomatoes as I ate it. The little silent communication I had with my local water dragon who's taken set up residence on my terrace and often just sits there on my table and eyes me through the glass, and I just receive his energy. It might be remembering a brief exchange I had with a neighbor that gave me a laugh and just feeling the energy of that again, or the freshness and purity that came as I drank a glass of water from my new water filter. Really being present and receiving the goodness or the beauty or the nurturing, however you want to look at it, the support that came with that gift from the universe. So this has become my regular practice at night. One of the ladies in Biz Alchemy Playground, when we were talking about this, said she always does that at the end of her work day, but she looks at what she received, and she also looks at, gratitude, expresses gratitude. So she's acknowledging the yin and acknowledging the yang. For this month, I've really been focused on the yin, on the receiving, because I'm aware that in doing that, my heart fills up and I do feel the gratitude overflow for that experience. So this has been a part of my ritual, doing that in the evening. And in the morning, I have my mantra that I shared with you a couple of episodes ago. And I say that and really feel it. And then I just say a beautiful sort of opening, abundant type prayer of what I'm open to receiving that day. And I just do that in the morning before I sort of get into anything much. And then I'm just doing my receiving list, if you like, in the evening. Plus, obviously, I have been immersing myself much more into receiving, into what that means, into how can I open myself. And it's actually been quite fascinating to consider what has come into my life this month. And we still have a week to go. I've made the most income in a month than I've made in well over a year. I've received some surprising gifts, some beautiful new clients, a deeper connection with nature and being part of the cycles of nature. Even though I've had that awareness, but for some reason it feels much deeper. And my connection with the birds, with the water dragons, with the ocean. By receiving from it more fully, I'm feeling much more connected to it. So my little experiment is really paying off. So I think I'll keep it up. And I highly recommend it if you want to adopt my practices or find your own way of being able to move into the receptive energy more, move into the yin space. And that's the other thing I want to point out is I have had a very yin January. I actually haven't, even since returning back to work a couple of weeks ago, it's been very playful. It's been very spacious. I haven't actually had a lot of clients yet. January can often be a little bit quieter in that way. But I've actually had a lot of yin time. And yet I have received so much, well, it feels like so much more than what I'm usually aware of. And maybe it is about my awareness. But it's been pretty special. It really feels, well, this is exactly how I want life and business to be. This is magnificent, please. So I'm going to keep going with my practices. And I'd love to hear from you if you adopt any of what I've suggested or you come up with something for yourself. But please, send me an email at jacquelynatkins.com, or if you connect with me through other paths like Telegram, please send me a message and let me know what you're doing as well. And of course, you still have a week to join me for my Alchemy of Receiving experience. That's a 4-week experience, I'm calling it, rather than a course, because you are not learning so much as receiving the energy I'll be bringing through to activate your energy body to bring you to a whole new level of receiving. As I said that, I just noticed on my computer the time is 11:44. The 4s and 1s I always find really, really powerful. And the price of the alchemy of receiving is $144. So if you would love to join me for this experience, the calls are at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time, but they are recorded and will be sent out within a few hours. Because this experience isn't so interactive, you don't miss a lot by not being there, because it is about you being in a space of receptivity and receiving what comes through rather than needing to give as well, put your energy out there. So it actually makes no well, I won't say it makes no difference, but you will receive as much, I believe, by watching the replay as being there live. So please don't let that put you off if you feel drawn to be there. You can go to the homepage of my website, jacquelynatkins.com, to sign up, or else check the notes here for a link to the invitation page. The invitation will close on the 31st of January, next Monday. Anyway, I've still got more to talk about. That sounded like I was winding it up, but no, it just seemed to be a nice opportunity to talk about that. Actually, there is still something else I want to chat about today. And this came up in a client session last week, and it's about discernment in receiving. Now, this is an interesting one because talking about gratitude, when you give gratitude, you only give gratitude for the good stuff, don't you, really? Like if you write a gratitude list, you don't, well, most people do not say, I am so grateful that no one signed up for my program. You know, it's not really something you put on your list. If you are being very aware of being grateful for all things, maybe you do that because you realize that there is an opportunity in that or whatever. But on the whole, that's not the sort of stuff we put on a gratitude list. So it came up in this client session about discernment in receiving, which got me thinking about it, because receiving isn't just about receiving the good or the right things. Receiving, does that mean we're open to everything, open to receiving all experiences? Which, you know, in many ways, we've come here on earth to have experiences, not to have right experiences or the good experiences. We've come here for experiences, for the polarity. So does that mean really we should be just receiving everything that comes our way? So two things here I want to look at, and one is this being discerning in what you receive. And that discernment comes from the way you initially react to the situation, to the thing, the opportunity, whatever it is that's coming towards you. It's learning to see your immediate or gauge your immediate response, your immediate feeling to that before the mind kicks in. So in many ways, the more aligned you are with your intuition, the easier it is to discern what you will openly receive. So, for example, imagine you see a writing course, maybe a copywriting course, and you see it and you think, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. I love writing. I would love to play around with my copy. I love the way it's being presented. Oh, that would be fun. And then your mind comes in and goes, hang on, you just redid your website 6 months ago. You are not going to change the copy now. That is a waste of time. That is a waste of money. Your energy needs to go elsewhere. So how do you respond to that? Your initial response was excitement. And even though your mind is saying to you, well, hang on, that doesn't fit in with the strategy that's in place, I tend to believe that if we feel excitement, if there's something stimulated in us when an opportunity comes, that is the opportunity for us to receive, because that opportunity is a stepping stone to who knows what. Who knows what we will meet as a result of doing that? Who knows how that may change our focus in our business? And so this is what I mean by discernment in receiving. So as far as discernment in receiving goes, this is where your relationship, your honoring, your trust of your intuition is of paramount importance. And how do you build that trust? You build that trust, well, listen to all my other podcast episodes, which will help you build that trust. But you do build that trust by also keeping yourself as energetically clear as possible, because the less stories sitting in your energy body, the less mist there is to get through to your authenticity, to your authentic voice. At the end of the day, even though I am talking with you about business and getting to know your business and communicating with your business and how to embody a business that is easy, abundant, spacious, fun, what I am doing really beneath all that, what I am supporting you to discover is your inner voice, your authentic voice, and use that as your guide to how you show up in your business instead of following the paths of others. So this is what I mean by listen to all the other episodes, because everything I share with you at its core level is actually about you trusting your intuition and not being swayed by others. Anyway, that was just, went off down a little path there. Let me come back, because there's still one other thing I want to talk about in terms of discernment around receiving. And actually, I just touched on this in terms of when I talked about energy. Because remember the law of attraction. The frequency of vibration you are putting out is the frequency of vibration that you will attract back into you. So if you're frustrated because no one signed up for your program, you carry that energy into your day, perhaps you'll receive a parking ticket, because the vibration of receiving that ticket is the equivalent of the vibration that you were actually emitting within your frustration. Now, I'm not saying in this that, we have to be upbeat all the time and high vibing. It's actually not necessarily even about your emotional experience. But the more you continue on your self-development journey, your journey to know yourself, understand yourself more fully, and shine that true light, your vibration will overall change, regardless of any emotional swings that you might have within a day. And in this situation, you're receiving in the parking ticket. Well, maybe you don't, maybe you just throw it out, but energetically you're still receiving it in. And without making that right or wrong, you are able to observe why you received that in, what led up to that experience. And obviously that can help raise your awareness in future for what you might be receiving in based on the frequency of vibration that you are emitting. Anyway, I think that's probably enough for today. I feel like I could chat on for a long time today. That's enough for you to mull over. So I hope that has stimulated some thoughts for you around receiving. That's all I'm doing. As I mentioned in a previous episode, I'm not saying this is right, this is wrong. I'm just dropping ideas out for you to muse upon and see what feels aligned for you, and maybe open some doors for you as a new, to create a new way of seeing things, of being, and other things, if they just don't feel right, just discard them. Be discerning in your receiving. And as I said, if you would love to know more about the alchemy of receiving, join me February 1st. We begin for our 4-week experience. That's the 31st of January, by the way, if you're in North America. And hit the link in the notes to find out more. Until next time, have an alchemical week in your biz. Thanks for listening to Biz Alchemy. I'm Jacquelyn Atkins. If you'd love to know more about the energy of business, subscribe to my newsletter at jacquelynatkins.com/newsletter. And join me on Insight Timer, where I have a large meditation library and do regular live classes. Until next time, enjoy creating alchemy in your biz.